think James is just a great example for many. You know, I believe the first call I had with James was when you were just enrolled or considering enrolling in our education, and you were sitting in a fire station. I believe. I'm pretty sure I could see all the notice boards and everything behind you. So I'm pretty sure you were sitting in a fire station at that time, in a reasonably well paid job. From what I know, I don't need to go into details, um, and but you know your passion lied in golf, and you know you enjoy helping people, and you wanted to get into coaching. So rather than me mumble and get the story all wrong, James, perhaps you could let people know you know who you are, and how did you go from sitting in a fire station to sitting, you know, sitting looking with your FitJoy shirt on and your Leadbetter logo on your shirt. How did that come about?
Morning, Robin. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk about my journey and my story, really. So I think if I go way back before we first met, if that's okay, So
Mm,
I was a good golfer as a teenager, um, and always had this passion for coaching and helping people, and considered becoming a golf coach at 18, when I just finished my A levels. I'm 47 now, so that's a long time ago. And I think the world of golf coaching was a different space to the world of golf coaching now. Um, so I gave that up and went and got a proper job, and joined the fire service. I did 25 years, or just over 25 years in total, in the fire service, and kind of moved around a couple of fire services. So started off in my home county, and then went down to London and worked in the Home Office, where I was working for central government and working as that link into central government, and then got a job in a different county. And when we'd first met, you're right, I was on a fire station, and my job I was doing at the time was head of response. So I was running all the fire stations and the control rooms within the county I was working in. I had about 1,500 staff. I had a massive budget, huge amount of pressure that came with it. And you're right. I think the salary was nice. I'm not going to lie, the salary was quite nice. But I'd always played golf, um, and always played golf to a good level, and really enjoyed playing golf, and still had that passion in the back of my mind somewhere around how I can help people get better at golf, and help people enjoy the game that I'd loved for over 35 years. And um, at the time, I had commitments. I had, a mortgage, a family. I couldn't afford to just quit everything and up sticks. And that's when we first spoke. And the
yeah.
the the opportunity to do the Leadbetter training was incredible for me, really. And I was able to kind of amalgamate everything into one thing. So I was still working 50, 60 hours a week. We had numerous conversations at different time zones, because obviously I
Yeah.
was in the UK, you were over in the US. Um, and it was really helpful just to be able to see how we could take us through that journey of learning everything that I needed to start on this journey of helping people. And it was always a passion of mine to coach. The best job I ever had in the fire service was an instructor. I spent 4 years as an instructor, helping people learn to be firefighters, become better
Yeah.
firefighters. And again, we're still playing great golf. We're still playing good golf, really able to play that standard of golf, fitting it in around a 50, 60 hour work week. And I knew I had some value. I knew that my my life skills, as much as anything, as well as my golfing skills, would enable me to add value to busy golfers. Because let's face it, most people that are playing golf nowadays they're not retired people, they're not professional athletes, they don't have all the time in the world to be able to dedicate, and people want to understand how they can maximize their game with a minimum amount of time. And I think that's something I had a real lived experience of. um, and then COVID hit. I think that was an awful time for the world in general. But for me as a person, it really made me evaluate what was important. And what was important to me was not the job I'd been doing for 25 years, although that had real value and really made a difference to people, but it wasn't fulfilling me as an individual. I'd kind of got into the routine of doing my job, doing it to the absolute best of my ability, which is something I've always tried to do. But it was becoming very, uh, I don't know, almost a bit kind of repetitive and wasn't really
Sure.
stimulating me. And I've always been a person that has loved growth, loved to learn, loved to do new things, loved to do new challenges. And just reevaluating what was important to me during that time just really helped me go, what do I want for my life? And then you kind of look at how ways you can achieve it, don't you? And so
Mm.
we'd had a conversation. The way that the GLO package is kind of set up is really helpful and really good for me, and I'm sure really good for loads of other people that have gone through it, but people that would be in a similar position to me, in terms of really enhancing your golfing knowledge, but also, and I think more important, and I think we said this when I passed my final sort of certification. I think one of the first things I said to you was, I've learned a load about the golf swing, but more importantly, I've learned how to coach the golf swing and how to really dissect what people are doing and what I'm seeing in front of me. Um, and kind of just doing that course really made me. And at that point, by the way, I wasn't confident I was leaving the fire service. I was like,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
I need to learn this. I need to understand whether this is something I can truly commit to. So I did the training, I did the course with no real kind of firm commitment that I was going to leave what had been my career for 25 years. And then was fortunate enough to get an opportunity at a local facility to me, where I knew a couple of the golf coaches there. I knew the owner. Really fortunate to get an opportunity to coach in and around the fire service.
Yeah.
So every Sunday when I was off, if I wasn't working on a Sunday, I would start coaching there, and
Yeah.
gradually started building up a client base. Gradually started realizing that this is actually really quite cool and
Mm.
something I really enjoy doing. And the fact that people can walk out of a golf lesson hitting the ball better than they did when they went in, and more importantly, I think having an understanding of why they're hitting bad golf shots,
Yeah.
um, just really kind of gave me a purpose, and it really felt quite empowering to be able to do that and have that ability and have that opportunity to do that. Like I say, I was doing this in and around the fire service, gradually building up my client
Sure.
base. Um, and it reached a point where I was doing maybe 5 lessons a week on average. That was it, probably over one day, five, maybe eight on a busy week.
Yeah.
So it, it wasn't life-changing amounts of money I was earning by any stretch of the imagination, but it really embedded in me the fact that I could make a living out of this and I could do it. Um, and then the facility I work at very kindly offered me the opportunity to do a few hours in the shop, which was nice. Um, so I was in there doing club fitting, or the opportunity was to do club fitting and club repairs and work in the shop selling golf clubs. And the bit for me was, I had a really big decision to make, because I was either like, this is the coaching is on the side
Mm.
as a bit of fun money, if that makes sense, a bit of
Yeah.
few holidays, a few nights out with the family or whatever, or I go all in and go, okay, right, let's do it, let's really commit myself into this. For those of you that obviously know about public sector in the UK and stuff, it's like, I had my pension, but my pension, I've deferred my pension, so I left early. I had 5 years left to work in the fire service, to get a pension when this opportunity came up. And I was kind of like looking at it and thinking, do I really want to be doing what I'm doing for the next 5 years? What kind of mental position will I be in? What about my own well-being as much as anything,
Yeah.
which was so important to me at that time. So I've deferred my pension. I've left early. Everyone in the fire service was amazed when I left, and I don't think anyone expected it. Um, but I had a 12-week notice period to give. So when I handed my notice in, I didn't once regret it. So over that
Mm.
12-week period, there wasn't one period of time when I thought, if I made the right decision, which I think told me what I already knew, that it was
Yeah, sure.
that
Yeah.
it was the right decision. Um, and I've been out of the fire service probably 8 months now, 9 months, something like
Mm.
that. Coming on 9 months. My client base is getting busier and busier. My skills as a golf coach are getting better and more
Yeah.
enhanced. And I think the analogy for me would be like learning to drive. When I'd finished my qualification, when I finished my certification, I knew how to coach golf, but I got much better at coaching golf by being exposed to that environment on a daily basis, really. And doing all sorts of different things along the side. So still working in the shop, still doing sort of 20 hours a week in the shop, but the coaching's getting busier and busier, which is great. I've kind of branched out into some online arenas as well, and I've got a YouTube channel, which again is great. Helps me talk
Sure.
more about the game I love. Um,
Yeah.
I coach online through Skillest. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously on social media through Instagram, really building what is the brand, and really nice to be able to do it in partnership with you guys. So if I don't know if you can quite see it on the shirt, but I've got the Leadbetter logo where I'm on
Yeah. I
that
know.
side, and I've got my own logo that side. All the shirts I coach in have got this, so kind of just building both brands, to be fair. And I feel really fortunate. Every day I go into work, and I, stand on the facility. I look out over the driving range, or I'm out on the golf course, and I feel hugely fortunate to be able to do what I do. Um, and I think coming to it at a later stage in life probably makes me appreciate it more,
Yeah.
and makes me really appreciate the struggles and the turmoils that most recreational golfers are going through. Because I've been
Yeah.
there. I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't go and practice for 5 hours today because I've got a day job. I've got kids to
Sure.
feed. I've got a mortgage to pay. I've got, all the challenges that most golfers have on a daily basis. I've been there. And like I say, just looking out the window here today, it's a beautiful day here in the UK. It feels like spring's finally coming, and uh, and I'm going to go and stand on the range today and just make a living out of the the sport I've loved since I was 11 years old, and just hugely, hugely passionate about golf, hugely passionate about helping people get better at golf, and just kind of that journey from that really important job, for want of a better phrase, in inverted commas, because all jobs are important. But I think in certainly early on in my career in the fire service, I've been led to believe that it's a hugely important job, and it 100% is. But it has to be a passion for you, and you have to go to work every day at least not dreading what you do. And I think towards the end of my career, I was waking up every morning in the fire service going, oh, what am I going to face today? I've got
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
day. I've got another day of dealing with supposedly the same things, and it just didn't excite me. And every day I go to work now, and I'm like, hey, who am I going to get in today? I've got regular clients that come in, but because I'm still building new clients, I'm getting to see new
Sure.
people every day.
Spring is coming too. It's a good time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, and yeah, golf shuts down a lot of times in the UK over winter, and with the spring coming, the golf courses are getting green and nice, and everyone's getting back out onto the golf course again, and it's just a really exciting time to be involved in golf and golf coaching, really. So
Sure. Amazing story, James. Actually, learned a few things there myself. I mean, you're right. The world of coaching has changed so much. Probably 10 years ago, we were not having this conversation.
yeah,
Certainly 15 years ago, because you it literally, as a golf coach, for most of us, it would have been servicing the members at the golf club we were working at, right? And that was your bubble. And occasionally you'd have you'd have the stray member who, is a member of another golf club who sneaks off because they heard the coach is good at that golf club. But really, you were in your bubble, and and put in a pigeonhole as also what you can charge and things like that. And
Yeah.
um, so for someone to, to leave a good any job, let alone a good job, it'd been very challenging, right? Um,
Yeah.
there's no boundaries now around what we do. We can literally teach anywhere in the world from where you are right now. Those barriers have been removed. There's more acceptance of, basically people have educated themselves and learned, and ultimately people want just a good coach, right? And
Agreed.
they're searching for that around in person around your local area and online. One of my actually I was more trying to work out your journey. Um, I remember at that time, was the kind of the first lesson you gave, or not say the absolute first lesson, but where did you start? Did you start by getting that opportunity to sort of teach in the Sundays at your local club, or did you try a little bit of online first? I sort of remember you dabbling quite early in the online things, even just with a few clients to sort of educate yourself, or was it more first first opportunity came more at the ability to teach there at the weekends at your local facility? What way did that start for you?
So
Often
it,
people are often very curious about how do I start, right? Um,
so I think the very first time was helping people out I was playing golf with. People knew I was
yeah,
going through this qualification, and they'd go, "Okay, what do you think about this? What do you think?" And people always love a free lesson, right? So
sure.
if you and golf coaches will know that whenever they're playing against people, they're not watching their golf swing and analyzing them, but people think they are, and
Yeah,
people are always thinking, oh, I'm playing with a golf coach. I'll just ask them for a tip. So I guess the first place was starting to help my mates out. Um,
yeah,
I did go into the online world very early on. So one of the
mm,
first things I did, was start to set myself up on Skillest, build this
yeah,
profile on Skillest. Um, I think if I'm honest, that was really slow
mm,
because no one knew me. So
sure.
as you say, golf coaches are so accessible nowadays. And I can have a lesson with you, and you're 8,000 miles away from me, or I can go to Australia and have a load of lessons over there just virtually.
Yeah,
And and I think when I look back at that now, it's probably slightly premature. I'm
mm,
pleased I'm on it, but at that very early stages, I was kind of, why would anyone come and have a golf lesson, certainly a paid golf lesson with me online when they've got access to you or other top coaches? So with the online stuff, one of the facilities I took advantage of was the free analysis. So
yeah,
I was promoting through social media the fact that I would give people free analysis. All they have to do
yeah,
was follow me on Skillist, and they'd get a link for free analysis, which is
sure.
something I still do to this day, actually. And I think that really helped me take some of that theoretical knowledge into practical experience. So that's
Mm,
really useful when you see you've got two videos of a golf swing and you've got to
sure.
try and analyze it. And I remember having conversations with you about it. I
Yeah,
think there was one guy in particular, who also happens to be a pal of mine and a golf coach in Florida. He'd sent me some videos of his golf swing, and I remember giving an analysis and sat down with you and just shared it with you to go, right, what does
yeah,
this look like? And the way you'd explained it in terms of what we're looking to achieve the same end goal,
sure.
but um, but I think very early on, it's very one of the pitfalls I've found into, particularly with this example, was very easy to give so much information and go, do
Yeah.
this, do this, this. Why don't you try this? Why don't you feel that? And you were like,
Overly ambitious as coaches
"Hun-
sometimes. Yeah.
yeah, 100%. And you were like, but he's got, he was worrying about overdrawing it, wanted to get back to his stock fade. And you're like, yeah,
I
but
remember. Yeah.
look how much draw bias he's got in his setup. And as soon as you said that, it's like, okay, yeah, no, keeping it really simple. And when you've only got a couple of videos, when you've got a finite amount of time with a student, that was some of the stuff I kind of took really early on from that online stuff. And I remember that conversation vividly with you, you know. So I think I would say to people, if you're worried about it, just do it.
Mm.
What's the worst that can
I
happen?
think that's
You know?
I think that's it. It would just in a nutshell. People always say, "How do I start?" Start.
Yeah,
I might be painting a picture from the outside here, but you started online. You had your profile up there, whether you were getting many students or not. You were there. People knew you were
yeah,
there. You were giving free lessons to your buddies on the golf course. You were offering free analysis, so you had people sending in their swing even if they didn't follow up with you. And
Yeah,
you start, and what happens is basically then people start to see you as a coach, whether in the background, whether you're making much money or not, is irrelevant. The bubble around you starts to see James. Oh, James is learning to be a coach. James was a good player. James is helping people, and then it's amazing how sort of some things start to happen, right? Either
yeah,
starts to grow in the online world, or you start teaching some more local kids and offering programs there. Some people go that direction. You knew somebody, you got a little opportunity at the golf club, but I wouldn't think that would have happened if the person who owns the facility didn't know that you were actually educating yourself as a coach and giving some lessons and trying to help people. That if you just walked in one day and says, I'm working the fire service, I want to teach here, no chance.
agreed.
Even if he knows you very, very well, it's that's you have to start, right? And you'd be amazed
100%.
how if people are actually helping, coaches are helping people and friendly and building relationships, how that just starts to open different doors in many different ways. Is it the kids? Is it online? Is it at a local facility? Is it in your garage? Right? There's so many ways people can find facilities to help people these days. But you have
Yeah,
to you have to start.
I agree. And I think, it's very easy to go, I'm not the finished article, and but let's be honest, we're never going to be the finished article. So if you wait till
No.
you're the perfect, in inverted commas, golf coach, then you'll never do it. I think it's, and there's a lot of experiential learning that you take from just getting exposed to it and doing it. I'm a way better coach now than I was 8 months ago. And
Mm,
in a year's time, I'll be an even better coach,
absolutely,
because
yeah.
you've got to expose yourself to stuff, and it's terrifying. I don't mind admitting it is terrifying. And particularly the first time someone pays you, you know,
Sure.
and giving away free stuff is great. That's easy because expectations could be quite low from the client. But the first time someone's handing over their money to pay you to make them better at golf,
Mm,
and certainly for me, and I had I had an awareness of my abilities. I've always been quite self-aware in terms of my own abilities, but it's still terrifying. The first time someone's paying you, $50, whatever it might be, 50 quid,
yeah.
to go, oh, there you go, make me better at golf. It's a completely different mindset. But
If it's an hour schedule, give yourself a little bit of time at the end in case things are not going well in that first one,
100%.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. 100%.
don't
And
don't
and it
have that, yeah, don't have that kind of deadline where if it's not going well, you've got to shut it off. So give yourself more time. Can't tell you how
I,
many times I ran into 30 minutes, 40 minutes over at the beginning. Just got to keep going until you help them, right?
yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah,
Mm,
exactly. And I think it's very easy, particularly if you're time poor, to, as a new coach. And I think I fell into this trap a little bit because I had one day to coach when I first started in person. I was going back to back to back. And sometimes you'd be under so much pressure, and you wouldn't show it to the client, but you'd feel under so much pressure
sure.
to
Yeah.
to get them in a position where they were ready to leave the lesson tee, knowing that you had the next one waiting. And actually, I think, so, give yourself that time, give yourself that space, as you
Yeah.
rightly
Don't,
say, build in 15 minutes, half an hour between lessons.
yeah.
And I think the other thing as well is it gives you that decompression space. It gives you that time to reset yourself, maybe go and grab a drink, whatever it might be, and just
Yeah.
reset yourself from the previous lesson to get yourself in the right frame of mind for the first lesson. Because, it might be your 10th lesson of the day, but it's
Yeah,
their
just reset
first.
yourself. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
It's, you know,
100%. Great words. Um, it's also about, I think what I was so impressed with you, James, is you've just activated it. I think you can probably put this example across so many industries and jobs that, people do something, whether it's a certification or education, and then they do it and they then okay, I've done it now, and they expect people just to fall onto their lap, and it just doesn't work that way. You've got to activate it in many ways. You just down to every detail. Seeing you're there sitting with the shirt on. It's a small activation. It's getting online. It's offering free education. It's you're getting. I can see you building up your socials, your YouTube, building relationships with local. A relationship at a local facility might not bear anything tomorrow, but things change, 3 months, 6 months, a year down the line when they have a staff change or something and they see how passionate you are and how you've acted it and see where your shirt on. And yeah, it's amazing just when you activate it in as many areas as you can, right? You've got to have more than one
Yeah.
line in the water. Good things happen, right? There's so many people who do something and then have no activation. You can't expect anything to happen. So I think that's why I'm so impressed about you. You've just really went out and fully activated it in as many areas as possible. And you're sitting here with no regrets today.
No.
With a decent lesson book in March in the UK, which
Yeah.
to those who are not in the UK right now, that's a really positive sign. I mean, no, most times in the UK, even the good coaches, there's pretty much nothing going on over the winter, and then you get you ready for yourself for a sort of US Masters onwards, April,
Yep.
run at a decent teaching season, and then you could hang your boots up again. So to be going into the spring, going into the US Masters with a decent lesson book, it pretty much means when we speak next in June, you're going to be absolutely flat out from morning to night, which is huge, and then you've got, I know you're really then you got your online world, which you're trying to grow. So do you have any, because I think you're the nature of you study everything, so you haven't
Yeah.
just studied the golf swing, you've studied socials and online and the business side of it and things like that. So I'd love to know if you got any tips for people out there, including myself. I'll pick up a few things here, but on the social side of things, on the YouTube side of things, what have you been trying to do there to grow your online presence?
So I think it's back to that word you used earlier, really, Robin, in terms of activation. And the advice I gave to at the beginning there around just get out and coach was one I probably didn't take myself with my socials to start with. I was a bit embarrassed, a bit kind of like, oh, people are going to be watching this and think I'm rubbish or think I'm awful. Excuse me. But I think it's I think it's back to that, just do it, just put something out there. Um, and you don't have to have all the technology. I'm incredibly fortunate that there's a guy who comes up to our place who's a professional videographer who films my YouTube videos for me. I'm incredibly fortunate in that
Huge.
space.
Yeah.
But all the other stuff I'm filming myself on my iPad, on my iPhone,
Yeah.
just using the AirPods, and just get stuff out there and be really consistent with it. I think,
Mm.
I think it's very easy every now and then, certainly when I first started doing it, and I would put a video out and then maybe another month later put another video out. Well, you don't get traction that way. And
Uh,
it's important to be consistent with your posting because people start to expect it and they start to look at it, and be really clear about the message you want to send. So, don't mix your messages. A lot like giving a golf lesson. You want the client to walk away with one, maybe a couple of really key things to think about. You don't want to fill their brain with so much information. And I think social media is a lot like that. Give them one thing, go this, and a really clear call to action. This is what I want you to do. This is what I want you to go and do.
mm.
Click on this, subscribe, follow me, click this
Yeah.
link for an online lesson or whatever it might be. And I think one of the things I've learned is to not take myself too seriously. I think just
Yeah.
put some stuff out there. If people like it, people like it. If they don't, who cares,
Well,
really?
I mean,
So,
the reality is, if I'm hesitant to say this, but there's a lot of people making a lot of money online, right?
mm,
Amazing amounts of money, just purely online. And if you go back on their YouTubes or their Instagram or whatever it may be, and look at some of their early posts where
yeah,
they started, I'm sure they look at it and shiver.
yeah,
Um, but they started, right?
yeah,
And I think we're always, when you're doing something like that, you feel like you're speaking to your audience is this educated golfer or coach who's going to be looking at you and scrutinizing you and saying that's not right. The reality is it's not who you're speaking
No.
to. Even if you feel like you didn't say it right or it was wrong, you still know a lot more than the typical person watching your posts. And they, even
Yeah,
if you feel like it wasn't very good, they probably feel like they still learned something. Um,
100%.
but it's far more important to be, to have a little bit of they learn something, a little bit engaging, a little bit of humor, getting the right length of video and all that kind of stuff, than it is to have this amazing, I don't mean this the wrong way, but amazing information. That could be taken totally the wrong way, but
No, I,
uh,
I I agree completely, and also to make sure you don't sanitize stuff too much. I remember having a conversation with. There's a video on my YouTube where we look at some different wedges,
yeah,
and one of the videos, I just hitting this little 20-yard chip shot. I bladed it straight through the back, um, because you know what, that's golf, and
it
we all do that
happens. Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah,
100%. And I said to the videographer, don't take that out, leave that in the edit,
yeah,
because it has to stay in the edit because that's normal. And I think people want to see a level of normalcy on norm, if that's not even
correct.
the right word, but you know what I mean, on socials, because there's so much in this world of AI and super edited, super polished stuff.
Yeah.
I think just be true to yourself, um, and just be really clear that if one person takes one thing from what you say, then that's a good day, isn't it?
And
And
everybody
we've helped some.
just go and look at some of the basic stats from, I mean, it's in the US here, but the NGF or something, people who research golf, and just look at the average age of somebody playing, the average handicap, the average level
Yeah,
of your golfer and who you're speaking to. And you actually have such an opening these days because so much of it has gone very techie buzzwords, things like that. Really, that goes right over the head of most golfers.
yeah.
And there's such an opening just to get the basics right.
I,
And
I, I was
people,
talking to oh, sorry, Rob. I was going to say, I was talking about techie stuff. I was talking to a guy yesterday, and just a new student of mine just booked a lesson package with me. And we were talking about technology. He said the last lesson he had, the golf coach didn't look up from the TrackMan data once. And I'm
yeah,
like, and he was really conscious that I didn't, he wanted to know whether I did that. And I was like, there's so much data available. And
yeah.
yes, I've got a launch monitor, and there's so much stuff online with all these incredible devices you can buy that measure wrist angles and, you know, ground force pressure and all that type of stuff. But most people aren't interested in that. They want to learn how to set up to
They
the
just
ball
want to they
properly,
want to
how
hit the
to
ball.
pivot.
Yeah, they want to hit the ball better.
100%.
It gets lost, absolutely lost sometimes. And a really good statement I heard recently. An explanation that needs an explanation is not an explanation.
I
Right?
agree. I agree
I thought
completely.
I thought when I heard that, my goodness, it's just so, yeah, that's us as coaches these days. We're giving explanations to a 15 handicap student
Yeah.
who which they have no idea what you're talking about, and you need to explain what you're talking about. If you're having to explain about what you're talking about, you haven't explained it.
I agree.
So I
Yeah.
just there's a good just that's what it's all about, community, right? And I mean, I'll probably put that up in our coaches community soon. That little step is just sharing little things like that help you on the tee today. You might think about that in one of your lessons today.
Yeah,
Uh,
I agree.
you
I
know,
agree.
when you're
I th
when you're when you're about to stay left wrist extension, you might just go, put your hand up and say, don't cup your wrist, because
yeah,
again, you think you're speaking to experts in the field and you want to sort of show them your knowledge, but the average golfer out there just it's not what they want. They want to just hit the ball better and be able to understand what you're saying, make them feel comfortable and make them enjoy the game
yeah.
a little bit
And
more.
I, and I think that's something we spoke about earlier with that video analysis that you and I shared that you really helped me out on very early on. But I think even in my in-person coaching now, I say way less in a lesson. But what I say hopefully adds real value rather than just talking a lot and going, look how much I know. Because it's not about how much we know as golf
Yeah.
coaches. It's about finding that one nugget that can help that person hit better golf shots.
That
So
shows your real knowledge, So yeah, it's just a trap that we fall into so much as coaches, just trying to show our knowledge, and
yeah,
doesn't really do anything for anybody at that moment. somebody enjoys the game more, hits the ball better, fixes their slice, they're coming back to you, right? And the least amount, and the least
Exactly.
amount you can tell them, the more they'll come back to you.
Yeah,
So,
and they're recommending other people to come back to you, you know,
yeah,
because
yeah.
they'll be playing with their buddies, they'll be taking the money off their buddies, and their guys will go, Who's helped you out? Where are you going? Well, go and see this guy or this girl. They'll come and help you out with their golf swing, you know." So
So, I mean, if you don't mind me summarizing, James, I mean, yeah, it was, I think you're just such a good example for many. But basically, you you had a great job, but you knew you loved teaching, and ultimately you started, right? And there's many ways you can start. You can dabble online, giving free lessons. Uh, sure, you'll have a price on there, but giving free analysis and just start trying to help people. Give your friends some tips when they want them. Get your relatives out there on the tee. Invite somebody, if you've got a garage and you put a net up, invite some people over to for golf nights. Start trying to help people on any channel possible. Local kids at football fields, soccer fields, gymnasiums. Um, just start trying to help people and give lessons. I think this is not about just suddenly one day to sell. I'm a golf coach and put your £50 or $80 price tag on and wait for people to come. That's not the way it'll work.
no,
Um, um, it's a journey. It's a journey like any other job. And start, because when people start seeing you as a coach and the word gets out that you're taking courses, taking certifications, people want which golfer doesn't want to play better. You'll get questions, um, and and it slowly doors open, but the point is start, right? And nobody has to like you. Nobody has to leave their day job,
no,
day one. This is a few times a week and a little bit online, and do a bit of social for fun. I think that's a huge part of it. Maybe there can be a goal at the end of it, as in this is going to be my job, but almost don't start with that purpose. Start with, as it's fun, it's a hobby. I'm going to try to help people and let it grow. Don't lay out some roadmap.
no,
I think that's where I've seen a lot of success. I've had a lot of people here in the US, retired vets, from military, and they just want to help other vets. They were a decent golfer and they want to educate them to help other vets. And it's amazing how then that has just exploded when
yeah,
it wasn't their intention, right, at all. They just enjoyed helping people and wanted to help other retired vets. And suddenly they've got it's grown into a business.
yeah,
So
and
start,
and
I
look,
think, is the key message to many.
yeah, and look, you don't know what works or doesn't work till you try it. So try loads of stuff
Mm,
rather
correct.
than pigeonholing yourself straight away. Try everything. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You haven't got to do it again.
Yeah, and don't necessarily, I know many people are doing this, maybe don't have the time or funds, or if you've got a job, it's really hard to say go and sign up for the PGA, which if anybody, if you do have the chance, of course, it's an amazing journey that and can help not have any doors closed and give you as many opportunities as possible. But many just can't do it. You can't commit to going 3 years, maybe working in a shop. Just it's impossible. The costs involved and things like that.
Mm.
Um, don't assume that all the doors will be closed. When people know you're a coach, when you look like a coach, when you are great at building relationships, helping guests and members and people who attend their facility, that's what owners want. Uh,
Yeah,
knock on their door. Yeah, the chances of you knocking on the door and getting a job the next day, like this. But again, it's part of the journey. You combine that with other things you're doing, and keep connections with relevant people in your area. Doors open again at the right
yeah,
moment because nothing is fixed right now. Staff at facilities are not the same staff 12 months on,
no,
almost never. So. That's what I would say as well. Don't assume anything, but also don't rely on it. You can do these things from online and gymnasiums and garages. I mean, you'd be amazed at the stories out there of people doing very well with in their living room, right? So, like we said, the world of coaching has completely changed. The point is uh, help people play better, help people enjoy the game more. I'll also say this: we're doing a lot of research into new golfers, and certainly in the US, we know there's about 30 million people, which is nearly 10% of the population, uh, have thought about playing golf and have a high interest level in playing golf, but don't play golf. Uh, you ask them what, first of all, you ask them, those 30 million people, would you be interested in structured classes to learn golf? 80 between 80 and 88% of them say yes, they would be interested in structured classes. So you've got 20 million plus people out there who would be interested in learning golf with structured classes. Then ask them why have you not started, and it basically comes down to they don't know how.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I would assume you could bring those percentages across into many places in the world, and it would hold true. So
I
around,
see that at our facility. It's like, with the advent of Top Golf and places like this all over the world, you get people playing golf as a social experiment. Like, they don't play golf. They go and hit golf balls.
yeah,
And I see it at our place all the time. We get people coming up here, they have a couple of pints, they have a pizza, whatever it might be, they hit golf balls. And you talk to them about improving, and they don't understand how they can go about doing it, where they can do it, and just don't
but if
understand that
if
journey.
there was a if what we know is if there was a class for those people to go and join a few friends and keep it social and just start to learn, there's a they would do it.
Yeah,
They would do it. And kind of talking to you maybe a year ago or 2 years ago now, James, those type of people, when they see the kind of high-end golf coach, who's been around for forever and teaching the good players, they run it. That scares them off.
yeah,
Actually, the somebody just getting into coaching is a bit more personable and go and get them and have a chat with them and things like that. That makes them feel welcome because we know why they don't start golf is because they don't know how. Number two, they feel embarrassed or they feel um, uncomfortable around other golfers
yeah.
and even golf coaches, right? Uh, so again, there's just huge segments people can go at. Current golf coaches, people thinking about getting into coaches, there's huge segments to go after. I mean, there's a living to be made just in welcoming new golfers to the game. People who've never touched a club before.
Yeah,
Uh,
was it like
uh,
60 million golfers worldwide, excluding the US, so probably 90, 100 million golfers worldwide. That's a massive market. That's a massive market.
yeah, yeah. So don't think you have to go after the 12 We actually know the 12 handicappers don't have many lessons anyway. It's about 19% of golfers, and that's probably high after COVID. It's normally lower than that.
Mm.
Actually have lessons. But over 30 or 40% of beginner golfers have lessons, and same with juniors. So, don't think you've got to go after it's going after the 12 handicap in the club. Actually, it's a lot about going after
Yeah.
new golfers, junior golfers. And as new coaches, those are great people because we definitely know more than them, right? Uh,
That's it.
yeah, thinking about it in a little bit of a different way. James, I know you got to get on the tee now.
It's fine.
I can't thank you enough. We're super proud to see you sitting there with a red shirt on and the logo on. I think that's great. I think it's just a really good example of getting up and doing it and then activating it in every way, doing it properly. But also, you left your job at the right time. This is not about just suddenly one day wake up and leave your job and start with nothing. This can be
No,
this can be done as in a journey to leaving what you're currently doing, and this could be a journey. This could be to continue doing what you're doing forever. You don't have. This can be just a nice side interest, and keep doing whatever you're doing, right? So there's not one way here. I think is the point.
agreed. Yeah, and like I said earlier, I started this without ever knowing I was going to leave the fire service.
Yes, exactly.
And you know, take chances when they come up, create opportunities for you when they come up. And I wouldn't be sat here now without you and you guys at GLE helping us out with our education platforms, helping us out with all the CPD stuff, continuous professional development stuff that sits behind it. I wouldn't be sat here without you. and I'm hugely appreciative of that and hugely thankful of that as well, Robin, for your time as well. So
No, other way around. Thanks today, James. Honestly, you've been a role model to what's possible.
thank you.
We got to stay in touch and say if you, if you're around August 28th, love to meet you in person for the first time. So
I'll
excellent,
stick it in my diary now. So
brilliant. We're in Sunningdale in London, so I don't know
perfect.
how far that away.
Perfect.
That's where we are. Perfect.
Couple
James,
of hours, not far. So
brilliant. We'll be in touch. Thank you so much. Have a good day on the tee.
thanks, Robin.
Take care. Bye
Take
bye.
care. See you later. Bye bye.